Some video games just like to mess with you and punish you for doing the right thing or being honest.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Sounds crazy, but you'd be surprised how many games do this. We got 20 examples today.
Excuse me, I can't find my mum. I don't know where to go.
If get out is not clear enough for you, child, perhaps a flash of my weapon will get the message across.
All right. Sorry.
So let's get started off with number 20. Let's talk about Detroit Become Human. Now, in general, being good is rewarded in the game. You know, it works like most games where making the morally quote-unquote correct response generally leads to the better outcome. You know, no big surprise there. But at a climactic moment in the story, when the stakes are super high, probably as high as they're gonna get, it's better to take the dishonest shortcut over the morally correct option. So I'm talking about the part near the end of Kara's journey where a woman drops her bus tickets. Now, your goal here is to get out of this city. So, of course, you take the bus tickets, but you're immediately confronted with the option of either giving the tickets back, doing the right thing, you know, or just keeping them.
Excuse me, you didn't happen to see a blue envelope somewhere, did you? It has our bus tickets in it and... never mind.
If you do return the tickets, then you're not getting on the bus out of the city, and instead you're forced to take a boat across the river with the help of a smuggler. The boat ride almost always ends in disaster, with either Kara or Alice getting injured, and somebody's gonna die. Basically, the only way to survive this is if you've got Luther still around, and even then, if you pick all the right choices. In contrast, just taking the bus with the stolen tickets and crossing the border into Canada, it's way easier. It's still a direction that can lead to mishaps, but compared to the boat ride of death, it's the easier direction to take if you want to actually end the story with these two characters alive.
Got your tickets?
Yes, here they are.
Okay, go ahead.
Next at number 19, Dishonored. I mean, it's called Dishonored. It's a stealth game, so subterfuge is like the whole point, dude. The goal here is to make sure your target doesn't know that you're coming for them, at least if you're taking the stealthy, non-violent route. So, you know, revealing yourself to the main bad guy of the game, the Lord Regent, during the mission where you're infiltrating the palace he's taken over, seems like a bad idea. And no surprise here, it is a bad idea. There's a screen in the entrance hall to the castle that the Lord Regent uses to communicate with his guards. And you can actually use it to talk to the man directly and not just tell him that you're here to take him down. You also reveal that you're Corvo, you're alive, you're back for revenge.
Corvo! You're the masked villain we've been searching for.
Doing this immediately puts all the guards on high alert, and you're already surrounded by enemies when the conversation ends. So if you're playing this game normally, you know, which is slow and stealthy, then doing this is about the worst possible thing you could do. If you're all in on high chaos though, then it's a pretty badass way to end things. Unlike most other stealth games, you are perfectly capable of taking down this many guards at once. You just gotta be good. So it's not like you're totally doomed for failure for just using the communication system to actually taunt the bad guy, but, you know, unless you want the entire garrison on your head, maybe revealing yourself at the start of the mission isn't the best idea. Next at number 18, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, one of our favorites. The main character can be played in a lot of different ways here, but he always comes off kind of like a well-meaning dunce. You know, he's got a certain kind of dumbass aura about him. That's why we love Henry. It makes him a likable, realistic character. He could be prone to making some bad decisions, or you can as the player, really. Now, you can try to play the game perfectly and make him some kind of brilliant 4D chess tactician, but this time through, mistakes will be made, especially during the necessary evil quest, man. So after extracting some information from a bandit, you discover that these guys are actually working with a nobleman's son. The local lord, Otto von Bergov, wants you to investigate it with his man, and when you confront the noble about it, things get pretty heated. So much so that you're forced to pick a side. You either assist the noble, who's a generally decent guy with a son who's made some bad choices, or Hasek, who's just been a real dickhead the whole time.
If you aim to defend them, then you stand against me. I'll kill you all. Every last one of you.
God!
Protect his lordship!
Most players are going to side with our noble buddy, and if you do, it's imperative that you lie about your involvement with the massacre. No matter how righteous you feel, telling von Berghoff the truth is a very bad idea, and the game makes that really clear. So, of course, they give you the option of just fessing up the entire thing.
No apologies. I'm proud we did it. I admire your courage for telling me that eye to eye.
And while the Lord admires your courage for admitting what happened, that doesn't stop him from immediately imprisoning you and hanging you in the morning. So this is one situation in a game where you 100% do not want to tell the truth. There's no good outcome if you go down that road. Next at number 17, this infamous quest in The Witcher 3, it's one of the rare ones where using deception is by far the easiest way to resolve it, and it actually leads to the best outcome. That's usually not the case in this game. Most of the time, Geralt is pretty straightforward with his clients, and even in this very quest, he's extremely reluctant to do things differently. It's the mission where you throw the baby in the oven.
Take him. You must put him in the oven. Trust me.
Take care not to hurt the child.
Look, it sounds extreme, even for this game, but in the end, it's proven to be a trick to draw out the evil spirit haunting the client. It had to appear real because this creature they're hunting, it feeds off of emotion, right? So the Jarl's despair had to be legit. It's possible for Geralt to reveal the deception before it goes down by returning the baby to the Jarl, but if you want to do that, then you'll be forced to fight the spirit in what's a pretty challenging boss fight. Simply drawing it out and trapping it, Ghostbusters style, is way more simple, and it leads to a better outcome for the quest anyway. Next at number 16, this is a standout mission from Dragon Age Inquisition, and it's not really about any one big lie. It's more about stringing together a whole lot of little, whole lies and half-truths to just get what you want. The goal here is relatively simple. You need to help resolve a major issue in the court of the not French kingdom of Orlais, and gather support for the Inquisition while you do it. So this one mission introduces a new mechanic where you start off with a certain approval rating from the court, and then depending on what you say and do, that number can go up or down.
Someone here is working for Tevinter.
To the uninitiated, the court is full of intrigues which might seem sinister, Inquisitor, but they are of little note.
The goal is to get it as high as possible, and the only way to do that is to schmooze up every noble you meet and tell them exactly what they want to hear, just kiss their ass. Honesty isn't a part of it. You're here to just make people happy, or at least get them on your side, be it through deception or some subterfuge. There's a reason why this game calls it the Great Game. The court is a nest of vipers. So if you actually go into this thing being honest, telling people what you really think of them and making measured claims about the chances of your organization's success and all that, everyone's gonna turn on you pretty quickly. Say enough stuff that rubs people the wrong way and you'll actually get thrown out of the ball entirely, and then it's game over. It's not even all that interesting. They didn't even bother giving you a little cutscene or anything. At least they made some unique art for getting thrown out, so that's something, I guess. There's no one standout truth here. It's just generally a mission where honesty is punished. Now at number 15, let's talk about Cyberpunk. You know the part at the end of the prologue where you steal the relic from the hotel penthouse? The game tells you to hide, but if you're just too slow or just too honest to stuff yourself in a crawl space and wait, then you can actually just stand around and wait. And then if you do, Adam Smasher, he barges in, he insults you, and then he kills you effortlessly. So it's not really a good idea to just wait around there. You're supposed to do what the game says and actually hide. At least they actually give you a proper animation when you fail, so that's something at least. It's cool to see. It's a cutscene that very few people are actually going to come across because everyone's just going to do the honest thing and hide away. But it's attention to detail like this that just makes Cyberpunk really cool.
Oh, fuck.
荒坂様、まだボディチェックが終わっていません。
Next at number 14, Lies of P. in the vast majority of stories and games, a hard truth is almost always considered better than a convenient lie. Usually, forcing people to confront difficult or unpleasant things is the right thing to do in games. I mean, the Witcher games are all about that. Like I said, Geralt is rarely a dude willing to sugarcoat a bad situation. So when a game comes along and tells you that a central game mechanic is lying or telling the truth, your first instinct is going to be that telling the truth is the right thing to do, you know? That's the more human thing to do. I mean, if we've learned anything from large language models and stuff like that, like, right, they're far more interested in telling us whatever we want to hear, not necessarily the unvarnished truth. So with all that said, to get the best ending in Lies of P, you have to lie your ass off.
Finally, you understand! Yes, we are human.
It sounds completely counterintuitive, and I'll be honest, we didn't do this the first time. And when you think about it, it is kind of counterintuitive, but that's what you have to do to get the true ending. If you don't, then Pinocchio won't have high enough humanity, and you won't have the option to get the most satisfying conclusion. Now, getting high humanity is also how you acquire the golden humanity weapon. So by far, the most rewarding choice in Lies of P is to lie, which in hindsight makes sense. I mean, lie is right there in the name of the game, but isn't the whole thing of Pinocchio that lying is bad? I guess it's also very human, and that's the ultimate point that I guess is trying to be made here, right?
How dare you? You're just a puppet. Nothing.
Now at number 13, Divinity Original Sin 2. Now, to a point, to play as an undead character in Divinity 2, it means that you have to be deceptive. Your party and most major NPCs don't care that you're like a skeleton, but if regular NPCs catch you, then they can and will immediately freak out. They'll become hostile, they'll call the local garrison on you. So in order to actually play this game without killing every normally non-hostile NPC you come across, you have to cover your face or otherwise get the veiled undead status, so people don't immediately clock to the fact that you're just like a walking corpse. There are illusions you can generate to look like other races as well, but the overall idea is that you need to keep your true nature a secret in order to survive, and it adds a whole fun little gameplay level. So in this specific situation, being honest, revealing that yes, you are a spooky, scary skeleton, that's a very bad idea. It's bad early on because it is very easy to get overwhelmed and killed, even against a bunch of unarmed NPCs. And it's bad later because killing everyone can turn your quest log into Swiss cheese. There really is room to be honest with some NPCs, and your actual companions conveniently don't care, but being open in public about being undead is not a good idea in this game.
My surest friend is my own mind. This will all blow over, trust me.
Next at number 12, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. An interesting thing about this 5th Black Ops game, which brings back choices into the campaign that I think were absent since Black Ops 2, it's that the traditionally good ending actually kind of feels like a punishment, because sure, you may end up saving most of Western Europe by siding with the good guys. Your reward for your honesty is a bullet in the head, delivered in the closing moments of the story. Yeah, they come and kill you. The big choice at the end of the game is about loyalty. See, your guy, Bell, was actually a Soviet agent who was brainwashed by Adler and his CIA allies. Right after finding out that they've been messing with your head this entire time, you're left to decide whether to reveal Perseus' headquarters. He's a guy you've been hunting for the entire game. Do you give up your former ally for your new Black Ops buddies? Or do you lie and draw them into a trap for revenge?
That true, Bell? You pull us out to the middle of nowhere Russia so Perseus can detonate those nukes?
In most stories, I'd say the right thing to do would be to side with Adler and save the day. And in a way, it is, but it ends up with your dude betrayed. On the flip side, if you betray your allies and draw them into a trap, then Perseus will congratulate you and allow you to launch the nukes yourself.
I think you deserve this moment, comrade.
You become a hero of the Soviet Union and the West is forever crippled, which, yeah, not a good thing for the West, but it's a great deal for your player character, I guess. Look, however you want to chalk it, East versus West, the Cold War stuff, it's pretty amusing seeing a Call of Duty game do something as subversive as letting the bad guys get a definitive win, even if it's not the actual canon ending. Next at number 11, here's a classic example of that old RPG staple where you try to do something nice for someone only to immediately get ambushed for it. In Elder Scrolls Morrowind, to the southwest of Ald Velothi, you can find a woman standing beside a pond. She tells you that she lost her ring and asks you to retrieve it. And being the upstanding RPG do-gooder that you are in these games, you do it. Which is a mistake for many reasons. Of course, once you find the ring, you're immediately ambushed by her and her invisible buddy.
No good deed goes unpunished, Outlander.
That sucks, but the real pain in the ass was trying to find the ring at all. It's extremely small and the water makes it almost impossible to see under normal light conditions, and plus, if you get it, it's worthless, so you're not really getting much out of this encounter at all, other than an amulet of shadows that the invisible one is carrying. The concept here is not new. The Good Samaritan in ambush happens all the time in RPGs. It's a classic. It's just that this one is especially punishing because it forces you to find a needle in a haystack before the inevitable betrayal comes. This is one instance where being a psycho and just attacking the two characters beforehand, it's probably the better option. Now at number 10, Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. This RPG has three main character routes or convictions. You can either be dogmatic, a heretic, or an iconoclast. A dogmatic is essentially the default setting for 40k. You're cruel and uncompromising. You treat the lower classes like dirt, and you kill anyone and anything that doesn't strictly adhere to the imperial power structure. You're basically playing a religiously coded yes man and a suck up. It's really just evil by another name. Heretics are even worse though. That's when you align yourself with the ruinous powers of chaos. So instead of normal style evil, you get to be extremely over the top evil. Iconoclast is different. It's the closest thing to good you could be in the setting, and it's by default almost always the worst option by far, at least in terms of like rewarding the player. If you're dogmatic, then you're rewarded for your loyalty. If you're a heretic, then you get access to powerful artifacts. But if you're an iconoclast, then you're constantly being second-guessed by everyone around you, distrusted, without strong allies.
Guided by faith. Eradicated.
Trying to actually be good and treat people with a little bit of honesty in this setting is so alien that it confuses and frightens most people you encounter. It is a route that does eventually pay off in certain ways, but for most of the game, it's tough going. It's an uphill battle. You make more enemies, you get the least amount of rewards, and have the most setbacks simply because you're just trying to do the somewhat solid, good, and honest thing. It's pretty refreshing for an RPG to actually make being the good guy hard and not easy. Very few games actually pull it off though. There's Tyranny, and then there's this game, and not really a lot of other examples I can think of. Now, next at number 9, the Mass Effect games. We love them so much, but they're not exactly out there rocking the boat when it comes to the usual morality argument in RPGs, except for a few specific instances. But in general, it's mostly exactly what you expect. About 99% of the time, the Paragon option will lead to the better outcome, and the Renegade choice almost always makes things worse in the long run. There is at least one situation where being dishonest is actually considered the correct choice, while also still being the Paragon choice, which feels backwards, but by the second game, they sort of gave up on what Paragon and Renegade were really supposed to mean. It's all just equivalent to nice and not nice. Still, in this specific case, you are in fact punished for being honest, because if you reveal Tali's father's misdeeds to exonerate her of the treason charges, then you'll lose her loyalty, and eventually it'll lead to the possibility of coexistence between the Quarians and the Geth, which is at the center of the third major section of Mass Effect 3.
Tali, is this true?
I don't know. My father had to have a reason.
Leave Tali out of this. Assemble a new Geth strength with what we have. Bypass security protocols if need be.
It's one of the biggest issues in the entire series, the Quarian versus Geth conflict, but the only way to bring like the best possible outcome here involves not revealing the crimes that Tali's father committed. It's not a case where he actually didn't do anything, like you have rock solid proof, but revealing it would hurt Tali's feelings. And to be fair, the revelation would be taken advantage of by bad actors in the fleet, so it's not totally a cut and dry situation. But still, at the end of the day, what we're talking about here is whether to reveal a crime committed by an admiral or not. And the right thing to do is to keep it a secret. If you're too honest, then you don't just ruin your relationship with Tali, who we all love, you doom both the Quarians and the Geth to a less than ideal fate. Talking about this now just really makes me want to go replay that trilogy, but we gotta move on. Next, number 8, the predecessor to Final Fantasy Tactics, Tactics Ogre. It's an all-time classic, just in part because this is a game that does not cut you any slack, man. There are branching paths that take the story in wildly different directions, but no matter what you choose, you're gonna be eating shit for a while, from just about everyone you meet. The most important choice comes at the start of the game, when you're instructed to slaughter a village. You can either remain loyal and go through with it, or turn on your allies and refuse. In most games, doing the right, upstanding thing would be the obvious correct route to go down, but this game makes things a lot murkier. The situation is complex, and there are no easy answers here, and the game constantly forces you to examine that big choice and consider that maybe you could have done things differently. You're constantly on the run. You become hated by your allies, many who were previously pretty sympathetic characters, and then also you're constantly called out on the perceived hypocrisy of your choice. In a way, they're not wrong either. You've killed so many already for the cause. People are dying every day in this video game war. And this attack, which was essentially meant to be a false flag, could have ended things quicker. You could have potentially saved more lives, but you care more about your own moral compass more than the lives of your countrymen. In any other game, these arguments would probably ring hollow, but here, there's a sense that they might be right, all because of good writing, good character work, and good follow-through. Next at number 7, lying is an intrinsic part of this disconcerting game called No, I'm Not Human. This is where the world has gotten hotter and strange things called visitors wander the earth. It's almost impossible to tell who is and isn't a mysterious visitor, but one thing is for certain, you do not want them to be alone in your house. You don't want to be alone, period, actually. If anyone asks if you're alone, you have to say no, even if it's not true, because if these visitors sense that you're vulnerable, they will kill you in your sleep. So the game is all about inviting people into your home and figuring out who is and isn't a visitor, which is easier said than done because the rules for finding these things seem completely arbitrary. Later in the game, when you start showing signs that you might actually be a visitor, the only way to survive is to hide the symptoms. If the hunter catches you with any suspicious signifiers, then he'll kill you on the spot. So if you're too honest and just show them your armpits or your teeth or whatever it is that they want to see without first checking yourself and hiding what's wrong with you, then you are 100% dead. It's not even clear that you're actually becoming a visitor, or even if that's a thing, but you have to deceive this guy to survive. When nobody knows what's going on and paranoia runs wild, the difference between a truth and a lie gets very thin. And that's what makes this weird game, No, I'm Not Human, such an uncomfortable and creative game. Next at number 6, let's talk about Mr. Sleepy Man. This is a recently released weird indie game, and in it, your goal is to cause chaos and destruction. One of your main goals is to ruin Mr. Bear's marriage, which partially involves tricking him into believing that you're helping him find his son. Dirty magazines are involved, it's a whole thing, but it's possible to actually help this family out for real. The only problem is that helping them actually seems to make things worse. It's a real pain in the butt and gets you almost no reward at all other than a weird event where they find a tooth in a cereal box and everything goes nuts. You get nothing at all for actually helping these guys out. But if you destroy their marriage and their home, then you're rewarded with one of the key items required to progress. So doing the right thing, that involves hunting down the son who's stuck in the woods and dealing with his asinine requests gets you nada, nothing. But tricking Mr. Bear's wife into thinking that he's looking at dirty magazines is rewarded. I guess that's just the type of guy that Mr. Sleepy Man is. What a weird game. Anyway, next at number 5, Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. This one's kind of borderline because the lie being told is perfectly reasonable given the circumstances, you know? I mean, the whole point of your mission to Venus is to infiltrate Hitler's command center. Killing the guy isn't actually priority number 1. And yet, it feels just wrong for BJ, you know, the Nazi killer extraordinaire, to not kill Hitler. It feels dishonest, frankly. You know what I'm talking about here, right? Like, there's that part in Wolf 2 where BJ disguises himself as an actor. It's where we get this absurd scene where this, like, weird alternate history, delusional, senile Adolf is casting actors to play as Terror Billy, as in the real life BJ, which at this point everyone thinks is dead. It's like a myth.
Selbst als Erwachsener waren seine geistigen Fähigkeiten noch die eines Kindes und tatsächlich, als wir nach seiner Exekution aufschnitten, konnte man sehen, dass Jude ist.
This entire segment is completely absurd. But the most absurd thing about it is that if you try to kill Hitler, it doesn't work. This is a wolf game with the Fuhrer right there, and you cannot kill him. Revealing yourself, you know, being honest about who you are as a one-man killing machine is rewarded with an instant death.
Mr. Redfield, would you step into the box? Nein! Erschieß ihn!
Now at number 4, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. This is one of the biggest decisions in the choose your own adventure style campaign that they did here. It's whether to kill or spare Harper, one of the main Black Ops dudes. It's extremely important, but not for the reasons you might think. See, whether Harper lives or dies doesn't matter much. What's actually important is that the guy you're playing as at the start of the mission is able to maintain his cover in the organization. It's imperative that the guy you're playing as doesn't die, because if he does, then you cannot get the good ending in Black Ops 2. It's complicated to explain, but he needs to be alive for a later mission, otherwise a key character will be killed. So if you decide to be, quote, honest and reveal that your character is a double agent, then your reward is a bullet to the head, and definitely a far worse outcome for the overall story moving forward.
Come on! You don't get the stones to fucking shoot me! Come on, egghead!
You betrayed us, Farid. And for what?
Now at number 3, Fallout 3. There's being honest, and then there's just being an idiot. In this game, you get captured by the purity-obsessed Enclave, and you're interrogated. The pretty forgettable bad guy, Colonel Autumn, wants the codes to the water purifier project at the Jefferson Memorial. And of course, the right thing to do is to not tell him, because they want to use it to kill everyone in the Capital Wasteland. If you have to be an honest dummy, then you can tell him what he wants to know, but of course, your reward for doing so is a bullet in the head. So you can be a good guy or a bad guy in Fallout, but siding with the Enclave is never a good idea, at least not in this game.
Just stand there. It'll be over quicker and might even be less painful for you.
Now down at number 2, Baldur's Gate 3. Look, out of all the RPGs on this list so far, this might be the one that requires you to lie the most. You're constantly forced into situations where you need to hide your true nature as a person that's been infected by a mind flayer parasite, or if you're in the presence of the cult of the Absolute, you need to lie that you're one of them.
She parts the folds of your mind again, touching every emotion soaks into her mind's palette. But there is purpose to her exploration. She is searching for proof of your faith.
There's also the artifact you're carrying that protects you against the effects of the parasite. You also have to keep that hidden from the forces that want it.
For you to keep sucking air, it is necessary for you to tell me something of worth.
A vessel fell from the sky.
We seek a precious weapon that was taken from it.
In BG3, you're not lying to be a jerk, you're like lying to survive. And yet, the game still gives you a lot of opportunities to tell the unvarnished truth for essentially no gain at all. Right from the start, you can, for example, tell the first true souls you meet that you are not one of them. And of course, they immediately react with anger and they attack you.
You're a true soul. Edwin, our brother, he was chosen. Like you. Do you have orders for us? We were reporting to Edwin.
What?
What are you doing? Your sword, brother! Now!
In that scenario, it's not too much of a punishment. You could pretty easily survive their attacks, but later situations will put you in nearly unwinnable scenarios, like if you approach the Gith Raiders and just straight up tell them that you have the artifact that they want. They will, of course, just take it from you and then immediately attack. And for most players, you're going to be significantly outclassed by these guys and destroyed in a couple of turns.
Help us find it, and I will leave your blood beneath your skin unspilled. It cannot be. Just like that, you offer up what I seek. Remarkable. You have my thanks. In gratitude, I'll grant you a swift death. Beretta, you know what to do.
At once. Attack her!
There are scenarios like this all over the place that turn so many conversation trees into like little minefields. Picking the wrong dialogue option, then you're in this unwinnable fight against impossible odds. Or at the very least, you're making things a lot harder for yourself. In most games, honesty is the best policy, but in Baldur's Gate 3, it's kind of a liability.
You are marked for special treatment. Not simply an enemy of the people, but an enemy of the Absolute. Come quietly, or die. Your peaceful surrender has been noted. You will be transferred to Worms Rock Prison, where you will await further sentencing.
Eat this, you pile of junk!
Villains, take recovery is imminent.
Now down at number 1, look, Fallout 3 isn't the only game to reward your honesty with a horrible outcome. The folks at Bethesda had to have been inspired by what you can do in the original OG Fallout from back in the day, which allows for a double whammy of ill-advised honesty. First, you meet a group of super mutants in the Boneyard. They think that you're like just a snazzily dressed ghoul, but you can tell them the truth if you really want to.
Hey, you not look like ghoul. How come? You not ghoul. I knew, not full Harry.
And your reward for doing so is to get captured and sent to the Mariposa military base where the mutants are using FEV to transform humans. When you get there, you're interrogated by the lieutenant who wants to know the location of Vault 13. Obviously, giving the place up is not the best idea. The whole point of your journey here in the original Fallout is to save the vault, but you can give it up if you really want to.
I'll ask you once more, nicely. Where is... Excellent. I believe you understand. So you're sure you want to tell where the vault is?
Your reward? You get dipped into the vats and become a monster. And the Master's army rolls up on your vault and kills and captures everyone inside in this pretty elaborate cutscene. I just assumed you'd get a little text crawl or something, but there's a full FMV of mutants attacking and raiding Vault 13. It's a bad ending, for sure, but it is kind of satisfying seeing that smug overseer get what's coming to him, so maybe this ending isn't all that bad. But those are 20 games that punish you or mess with you for being too honest. There are plenty of other examples out there, so I'd love to hear yours down in the comments. But if you like talking games with us every single day like this, all you gotta do is click the like button. It helps us. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click that notification bell. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.